From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Thursday, July 13th, 2017. Silver is trading at $15.88 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,220 per ounce. Bitcoin is trading at 5 cents, and the average price of Bitcoin is $2,396. Antiwar.com reports, adding to evidence of the humanitarian nightmare the Afghan war has become, Australia is now investigating soldiers for their special forces related to evidence that at least twice in raids in Kandahar province, troops killed children in rural areas, then tried to cover up their deaths. Cover it up might be overstating it, really. Indeed, the evidence suggests that the Australian forces who were present at the killing just plain never reported them up the chain of command, and it was only because local villagers found the bodies that those deaths became public knowledge. This comes as Australia's Inspector General is already investigating the special forces over other unlawful killings, and those special forces were killing so many children they routinely carried spare drop weapons with them just to plant on the corpses to make it look like they were combatants. The investigation serves as just another embarrassment from the perspective of Australia's military, but also appears to be the result of broad changes in the priorities and tactics of the U.S. and its coalition allies in fighting in Afghanistan as they move away from the clear and hold tactics of the war's first decade. Those familiar with the situation say that once clear and hold was abandoned, the collateral damage of raids stopped being of major concern for the troops since they weren't going to be there after the operation anyhow, and often helicopter-based raids became land, kill, and leave. This attitude was plainly an evidence of the Australian forces engaged in the raids in question, heading into rural Kandahar in the middle of the night and shooting anything that moved, even if they weren't in the combat situation yet. If the slain turned out to be children, the expectation was that this could simply be swept under the rug. It's the same attitude that has some other nations involved in the operation facing similar questions, from New Zealand's probes into revenge raids to U.S. Special Forces desecrating the bodies of slain enemies. It's also the latest in a long list of reasons why they aren't welcomed as liberators and aren't anywhere near winning the war. In 1999, Daryl W. Perry began a search for traditional values, which led him down a path to the ideas of liberty. He tells the story in A Rebel's Journey, My Path to Liberty. Of the book, Dr. Brian Sovereign says, "Sometimes it's funny, and sometimes I think it's crazy, but it's always authentic." Ask for A Rebel's Journey wherever books are sold, or visit arebelsjourney.com. UPI reports personal information of an estimated 14 million Verizon customers was left unsecured on the internet, according to a tech company that investigates possible data breaches. The vulnerability was the result of a Verizon subcontractor's error. The contractor, Israeli-based Nice Systems, hosted the data in an unsecured cloud-based server that was accessible to anyone who knew where to look for it. The potential breach was found on the website UpGuard, which seeks out potential data vulnerabilities where they exist and works to correct them. UpGuard notified Verizon of its findings on June 6th, and the vulnerability was finally corrected on June 22nd. UpGuard did not publicize the oversight until Wednesday, weeks after the threat of a data breach had passed. In a statement, Verizon said the only individual to access the information other than Verizon or Nice Systems employees were the researchers from UpGuard. The company said, "We have been able to confirm that the only access to the cloud storage area by a person other than Verizon or its vendor was a researcher who brought the issue to our attention. In other words, there was no loss or theft of Verizon or Verizon customer information. The data included customers' names, addresses, account details, and their Verizon personal identification number." For nearly 40 years, Roberts & Roberts Brokerage has been a trusted source for buying and selling precious metals like gold and silver. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and have permanently removed the minimum purchase amount for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on buying and selling precious metals and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 800-874-9760 or visit online at rrbi.co. Reuters reports outgoing Amtrak co-chief executive Wick Moorman said on Wednesday the money-losing U.S. passenger rail system is considering a less comfortable economy class of seats that could allow it to pack in more passengers. He said that the distance between the seat back and the seat in front would be tighter like in an airline. Amtrak fares can be higher than airline fares, but its trains currently offer much more legroom than an economy class airplane seat. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.